Got to execute early on, find a rhythm of the game, and then go finish in the fourth quarter.
The whole season on the line for the Buckeyes. Nobody giving the Wolverines a chance to win this game. Howard in trouble! Incomplete! Ohio State turns it over on downs. And the Michigan Wolverines will shock the college football world. And now there's some skirmishes going on the field.
You got to fight Ryan Day.
If there wasn't a 12-team playoff, Ryan Day would be...
I think he would be fired.
Is Ryan Day the guy for this job?
Can he and the football team bounce back?
Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first.
They cracked his helmet with such a big hit. Look at that.
Touchdown end zone. Henderson breaks free. House call for Ohio State. The Buckeyes can begin planning for Pasadena. There is Smith rolling free. Breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly. Caught in stride. Abuka touchdown. Buckeyes on fire. Smith is wide open. It's a Crimson avalanche here in Pasadena. Travian Henderson gets momentum back for Ohio State. Sawyer knocked it out and picks it up. Ohio State scoop and score. Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. And Smith, he's got it. And Ohio State, who's going to walk out of Atlanta national champions.
The story gets to get told now, and it's a great story about a bunch of guys who have just overcome some really tough situations. There's a lot of people that counted us out, and we just kept swinging and kept fighting. It's the reason why you get into coaching, is to see guys overcome things, learn life lessons, and then reach their dreams.
College football national champion Coach Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
What's going on, Buckeye Nation? Peter and Rob back to you for another live. It's Ohio State's bye week, 7-0. Well, we got plenty of stuff to discuss this week, including an amazing excerpt that was released today from Bill Rabinowitz's new book, revealing that contentious meeting and Mitchell Melton stepping up and talking to Coach Day. We're going to cover Michigan State this weekend. Obviously, being Michiganders, this is a game we love watching. The state is so divided this week, and it's a really fun week to be out and about and see everybody sporting their colors. So we'll break down that matchup for you. Our Heisman list coming in hot, who we think might be in contention and playing themselves into contention for that prestigious award. And at the end, of course, we'll talk playoffs as well, who we think is separating themselves as serious contenders, and then who might get in a group of 5 teams. There's a couple contenders for that one group of 5 spot. We're going to discuss that and break it all down. But first, Rob, I want to really talk about this excerpt from Bill's book, because, wow, you guys said this came in our group chat, and that meeting shifted things for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But anyway, why don't you go off and read that excerpt, and then we'll get going with this intense discussion.
All right, so it says that got the ball rolling for what became a contentious meeting. Other players challenged Day when he gave answers that they deemed unsatisfactory. I forgot who said it. Seth McLaughlin said, but someone was like, Coach Day, when you go on about stuff like this, I'm not going to lie, people hate you when you act like this. And what he means by that is we've seen before, Day tries to justify his actions or just coaching decisions when it's not even close to being justifiable. And this next part was just completely just fire. I raised my hand and asked Coach Day, these past 2 years losing the way we had, what did you learn? Melton said. He said Day began his answer by talking about scheme. That didn't satisfy Melton. He said Day talked before the game about the need to establish a run game because the winner of the OSU Michigan game tends to be whichever has more rushing yardage. So let's stop there. That tells me that Day lives on social media, and we saw that after the Notre Dame Ohio State game back in 2023 when he called out Sorry, that
Yeah.
was cracks you up. He called out Lou Holtz.
Yeah.
And that
Post-game
just
presser
tells me
right
he
down the
was
field.
social media feeling dissed that his team was not called tough, and, you know, it's just like it was a bad look.
He was out to call a point and to prove a point. It was a bad look. And honestly, he tried to prove it in the Michigan game last year again. Like all season long, Michigan fans are calling Ohio State sharp and soft. And they're still calling us that, even after we won a title. I don't think it is going to affect Day the way it did in last year's contest and the previous contest, but
No.
continue.
So it said that whoever has more rushing yardage, but that can be an effect rather than cause. Teams run more when they are ahead. Meldon and probably others believe that coaches knew Michigan was a ground-based offense and stubbornly wanted to beat the Wolverines at their own game. I realized soon after the game that was very prideful in our own right, and it cost us a Big Ten championship, Meldon said. What I wanted out of that meeting was to be very honest with ourselves and clear on what happened and why it happened so that it would never happen again. Now, the question is, does this ever happen again where Day goes online, see all these statistics on who wins this game, tries to come with this proper formula to beat Michigan, and then at the end of the day ends up beating themselves? Because for what I saw last season in the
Yeah.
2024 game was they beat themselves. They played right into Michigan's hands, and it was because Day being online, looking at all these stats. Okay, whoever wins this game has the most rushing yards. So now we got to move away from our strengths in order to be able to win this game. No, that's he got in his own way once again, and it proves that this Michigan team has the mental edge over Coach Day. Now, from what I've seen this season, and especially after the national championship, that national championship was a reset button. Coach Day has been more confident than ever. It seems like he has a new identity as a coach. It seems like that doesn't have that, deer in headlights look. He doesn't have that puckered look like we're gonna lose the game. And there has been close games. You had the Texas game was close, the Washington game was close for a bit, and when they showed his face, it seemed like he just didn't have that worried look in his face because he finally has found himself as a head coach. And I always emphasize that, hey, give Coach Day some time. He's a young head coach who, what, he may have not won a national championship yet, but he has kept the Ohio State Buckeyes at a competitive level, competing always in the spotlight each year. And eventually he's going to figure that out. And again, that national championship game was the reset button. And this is a brand new Buckeye team that we're seeing, a brand new identity, brand new head coach, and they seem focused, hungry.
They're very businesslike and very professional in how they respect every single opponent that we've seen. And like to your point, you don't see that look on Day's face, that sheer panic and shock. And I can't believe this is happening. How do I get out of this? Wide-eyed, it was very obvious to identify, and it infuriated all us fans. And we talked about it several times the last few seasons. It was very noticeable, and we haven't seen that this season, and that's been extremely noticeable that it's not present. I think it is kind of a reset button. I think it was very evident he was reading social media. He was reading what people and media too think about his team. Ohio State, Sharman soft. Ohio State soft up front, soft on defense, get run on. And he wanted to prove a point. And now that monkey is off his back in the national championship, we've seen a different Ryan Day emerge. He's winning differently. He's playing ball control and possession. Now, he did uncork and unleash saying this past weekend versus the Badgers in Madison, but really playing ball control, leaning on the defense. Special teams isn't the greatest, so he's evolving and finding new ways to win, and that's really encouraging to me as a Buckeye fan.
Thinking about the past and the type of quarterbacks that Ryan Day has had, it to me like the development and the progression of Julian Sane has been absolutely elite. I mean, they pretty much had the training wheels on the Texas game. Okay, be a game manager, do what you got to do to win this game. Don't turn the ball over. Okay, he did that, and then goes on the road against Washington. Pretty much a game manager. Resetting the chains, getting those first downs on second and fourth, third and sixth. Uh, don't turn the ball over. And he's done that. And what we saw against Wisconsin, I mean, I get that it's Wisconsin, but you're seeing Ryan Day just being able to unleash him because just like he's definitely progressed as the season has gone on. He's looking like I mean, the dude's always has confidence, but he's finally getting a chance to really show what he's made of. And my gosh, like I keep saying this, but his completion percentage, it's completely off the charts. And when you have a quarterback like that, you don't need the home run balls. You don't need this USC type offense or the past offense we see in Ohio State in the past, like the 2021 offense, the 2022 offense, where they score in about a minute and then their defense is back in the field.
Yeah.
Day realizes what he has and he's using it to the full advantage. And just, I feel like, again, the national championship was a reset button. And I don't think he's ever going to waver away from what he realizes he has. And he's going to use it to all the way till the end, man. Great chance to go back to back for this team. I'm more and more, I'm starting to believe as the weeks go on.
They're in a great spot, man. I got to give you credit, too, because you called these two things in the offseason. I think in one of our videos as well, you said that Julian Sane is going to have a higher completion percentage than Will Howard. And I kind of scoffed at that. I was like, there is no way. He just set the record for the program. He's exceeding it by a mile. 80%. And the other thing you said was trust Ryan Day, because I was I was questioning the Patricia hire in the sense of he's never coached the 4-2-5 defense. But honestly, that hasn't been a problem because he runs a multiple defense with multiple coverages and multiple looks pre and post snap. And so, yeah, you called those two things and knocked him out of the park when I was uncertain as to how that would play out. So,
here's why, I've been thinking about this. Here's why. The 4-2-5, even though it's with Matt Patricia's working out so well, he's putting his own spin onto it because he realized the personnel that he has. You have potentially four first rounders on that defense.
Yeah.
Potentially 5. I don't want to get ahead of myself though.
Sure.
You have Arvell Reese, who's just climbing up draft boards week after week, top 10. Caleb Downs, top 10.
Yeah.
Sonny Styles has a chance to be a sneaky first-round pick.
He could be.
Curry, I think when it's all said and done, he has a chance to be a first-round pick. And you know what, man, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, dude. I think there's a great chance that maybe Jermaine Matthews, possibly Jermaine.
He's long. He's long and athletic. Yeah.
Yep. It's if you look at the NFL draft, it's all about potential. What type of potential these players have, and then just like if he has a great combine, like it's all up to the combine because we've seen players come to the combine, knock it out of the park, and then they're in the first round.
Sure.
So I could see someone like Jermaine Matthews having a great combine and just being able to show off his skills as a cornerback and sneaking in the first round. And dude, Sonny Styles as well, man. Just the move from safety to linebacker.
Yeah.
And I mean he was good last season, but this year he is great.
Was. He's improved greatly.
Yeah, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles is the best linebacker tandem in all of college football. But also, really man, how are you feeling about Caden McDonald?
He's a disruptor, bro. He as big as he is, man, he can move so quickly. These athletes are insane. Like, he's 330 pounds and he moves swiftly with his feet, with his hips. He gets low and drives and penetrates the backfield, disrupts the quarterback's passing lane. He's a phenomenal player and a phenomenal athlete. He's a lot of fun to watch and a pleasant surprise. I wasn't sure what to expect with McDonald this season, but they've utilized him so well. And he doesn't just eat up space and take up blocks. No, he disrupts timing of plays and gets in the backfield and gets tackles for loss. So he's impressive.
You know what I think when I see players who we haven't even heard of just step up to this magnitude and just completely knock out of the park, and they're
Mm,
playing at such a great high level, especially
yeah.
being in a program like the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes. I think that again, you go back to the national championship, there's a culture reset within Ohio State, within,
Mm,
the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. And the culture it's always been win, fight, but I just feel like it's just hungry, focused, humble,
yeah,
determined, just more than ever. And you know what? It seems like they really don't care about any outside noise. Because I guarantee you, I mean, you heard all this noise about the Patricia hire. You heard all this noise about how Ohio State lost all these players to the draft. You heard all this noise about, gosh, them not being able to develop,
sure.
and it's being proved wrong week in
Yep.
and week out. It just seems like this team just doesn't care. They're on a mission, and I got that feeling when Down said that basically the players were like, "We haven't won anything. We don't care about those banners.
Yeah,
This is a new season. We're
yeah.
resetting, and we're
Take the
looking to
banners
go back
down.
to back. Take the banners down. We don't care. We're hungry." And you know what? I'm going to call right now. I think this team, no, this team will go into Ann Arbor, Michigan, the big house, and they will win. I'm not just saying that just to say it.
Mm,
I'm
yeah.
saying it because this team reminds me of that 2001 Ohio State team
Oh,
where all the upperclassmen got together, all the seniors just said, "Hey, enough is enough." And you know what? You have a lot of hungry seniors, 6-year players. You have,
yeah.
Caden Curry, McDonald, Kenyatta
Kenyatta Jackson.
Jackson,
Yeah.
Taiwan Malone is
Mhm.
getting in on it as well. You
Yep.
have Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles,
Styles is
you have
old. Yeah.
you have Jermaine Matthews, and it's just
Mhm.
like oh yeah, Arvo Reese is waiting as well, hungry as ever. And
Mhm.
they've been through it with this team. They may have not been on the field as much for some of them,
Sure.
but
Sure.
they've been through it. I guarantee you that they're gonna get together for that game in general and put their foot down and say, "Hey, this championship was a reset. This season was a reset. You know what? We're gonna go to Ann Arbor. We're gonna get the job done." And you know what? I guarantee you, just reading the excerpt, I guarantee you the coaching staff is not going to make the same mistake again. They're going to play to their team's strengths. That's being able to get off the field on third down for defense, giving the
Mhm.
offense more possessions. There's not going to be any home run balls. There's not going to be any
No.
let's score in a minute. It's going to be okay. We have the greatest game manager right now. We have the best quarterback with the best completion percentage in all of college football. We're going to get 2nd and 4. We're going to get 3rd and 6. We're going to run a couple times, but we're gonna let Smith eat. We're gonna let Tate eat. We're gonna let Claire eat. And you know what? We're gonna get
Yeah.
Bo Jackson going in the pass game as well. And they're just gonna churn the clock out 8, 7 minutes at a time. And you know what? The fact that they're able to get off the field so much on third down. I mean, they've only allowed 19 out of
Yeah.
89 third downs. Go look
Yep.
that up on the NCAA website for, just several rankings, rush
It's
defense, rush offense, third down percentage defense. They've only allowed 19 out of 89. That is elite. That gives teams less possessions on offense, and their defense is more on the field, and then they'll get tired. They'll lose the time possession. Ohio State will, they'll turn the clock out. They'll go down the field and score. And then just like, okay, the other teams were playing catch up. but there's not enough time to get there.
Yeah, man, it's it's phenomenal to watch this team play, and I'm thankful you have the confidence, and my confidence is building in that game too. I mean, you remember conversations we had back in February about this game. I was like, I'm not picking a win until I see it on the field. But this team, the way they're playing, the way they approach the game, and counter-wise, the way Michigan plays and the way they approach the game, it's building my confidence back up. I must say, the confidence is growing. And yes, it is in Ann Arbor, but this is a totally different team. Like, I think they're being led a lot by Caleb Downs. And one of the things I really like about this team is they're humble. They're hungry, but they're humble. They're not talking in the media all this foolishness. Have you heard anything this entire 10 and a half months of this calendar year from a player that's like, wish he hadn't said that? Ooh, why did you say that, bro? There's been nothing that's been like, bro, just shut up and win. Go out and play. They're not talking about Michigan. They're not talking about we're going to do this, we're going to accomplish this, outside of down setting the tone and say, take the banners down. We're here to work. And that's what I really like about this team.
Yeah, I really got that idea. It was after the Washington game. I think it was Caden Curry or Caden McDonald was doing an interview with the press, and they said, "Yeah, we're just a bunch of nobody defensive linemen coming out here giving our best." And they are going out there. Ohio State is currently the 9th best rushing defense in all of college football, only giving up 84.5 yards per game. And just like, remember, we were worried at the beginning of the season when they were giving up 5 yards a carry against Texas. They really tightened that up, man.
Yeah.
And then the beginning of the Washington game, when I saw Muhammad, or I think it was Coleman,
yeah,
break one for 50 yards, I'm like, oh shoot. But then they tighten up, dude. This is a hungry, humble, determined, hardworking defense who just show that they realize, I've been waiting on the bench all these years, 4 years, 5 years. Maybe I'm a 6-year player, but it's finally my time. I'm getting my term. I'm getting my turn, and I'm going to go out there and grind and do what I got to do to will this team to a win.
It's phenomenal to see. And going back to your point about, the rushing game, I think it has been 22 years in a row that in the rivalry game that the winning team leads the game in rushing yards. And I would venture to say Michigan probably will have more rushing yards again this year. Based on how our offense has rushed the football so far. I mean, coming off a 95-yard performance in Madison. But, I think Day is so different that from Meyer, whereas Meyer wanted the balance, the 250 yards rushing and 250 passing. He pounded that home when he was here. I think Day is more like 325, 175. And so even if Michigan does outrush it this year, despite having our stout run defense, Justice Hayes is a monster. He's going to be a problem for us. But now with Evan Link out, that kind of is problematic for the Wolverines. So I think this might be the year that, Michigan might outrush us, but I don't think they'll win this game.
No, man, it will be the first year that the game is not determined by who has the most rushing yards. I think that, if you look back on teams of Ryan Day in the past, when they were in a tight corner and their backs were against the walls, they panicked, they went away from what works for them,
identity.
and then they lost games. They lost their identity, which caused them to lose games. I have not seen this team falter once away from who they are.
Yeah.
And that
they know their identity.
They know their identity. They're led by their defense, and their offense goes on the field and gets the job done and makes the most out of the field that they've been given by their defense. So maybe the defense gives them a spot at the 40-yard line. Okay, that's we're gonna churn 7 minutes. We're gonna go down and score. Maybe they get a turnover at the 30. They're gonna capitalize that. They're gonna score.
Sure.
So they realize who they are, what type of team they are, what type of quarterback they have. their receivers, and they have not faltered from that identity.
Well, they can play within their strength and to their strength, and they're doing it, and it's encouraging. But speaking of the Wolverines, man, it's Michigan State week, and being Michiganders, we love watching this contest. This honestly is one of my favorite contests to watch every season, just because being Michiganders, the state is divided. Everybody's repping their teams and rocking their swag this week, except in town years, but. This game typically does go one of two ways. Either Sparty gets completely blown out, or it's a tight white knuckle down to the end, nervous fest going on. There is no in between in this game. There isn't like, oh yeah, they won by 10 to 12 points. It's either freaking drug out fight to the end, or usually the Spartans are getting crushed. So how do you see this one kind of playing out this week in East Lansing? At night again.
Yeah. You usually see John Smith teams come to fruition year, 2, year
Sure.
3.
Yeah.
And just like we haven't
Seen him.
seen any improvement. Actually, I feel like he's just lost his players. I don't see any enthusiasm. I don't see any drive. Nick Marsh seems disinterested whenever, he's not having the ball thrown to him.
He's kind of a diva, I think.
Possibly. And then you have the defense. They're getting
Yeah.
gashed almost each week. And it's just like, didn't they lose to UCLA at home?
Yeah, they got worked. They got worked.
Yeah, because they literally have no defense. So this is what Michigan State is looking at right now. So the only team they beat so far, so they've beaten Western Michigan, Boston College, Youngstown State, but they've lost to USC, Nebraska, UCLA, and they got completely mollywopped by Indiana.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they're on a 4-game losing streak. My cousin said that the players have given up on the coach, and seems like John Smith has lost the locker room, and wouldn't be surprised if he's not the coach after this season. Like it just seems like the players are just over it. They're just like, okay, this dude isn't the guy to lead the program. And I've heard some names thrown around. I heard James Franklin. Now, if you look at what James Franklin did at Vanderbilt, took Penn State, rose them up again. And, just look at the state of Michigan State. It kind of makes sense. But as far as them playing Michigan, dude, I don't really see much going on in terms of them making this competitive now. If they do, cool. But it just seems like they don't have an identity. Their players are disinterested. Their coach, it just seems like he's not a player's coach. And it's just when you have players going out there giving it like 50%, and your best wide receiver, probably one of the best wide receivers you've had for a while, just is completely checked out as well. It just it doesn't look good.
Well, red flags were going off for me this offseason. Right after the season ended, several players entered the transfer portal for Michigan State. One even jumping ship and joining the Wolverines, the arch rival. That was a massive red flag, because players in this rivalry just don't do that. It doesn't happen. And so that really triggered me to investigate, is something actually going on in the MSU locker room? And I think you kind of nailed it, man. I mean, I said it this offseason. I think something's wrong with Jonathan Smith and the MSU football program, and it's playing out in the field. Now, initially this season, I thought Childs improved. I did see improvement in the Boston College game and in those first couple contests, but he has regressed. Absolutely regressed as the season has gone on. He turned the ball over a lot last year, and he has cleaned that up some, but he's still inconsistent in his throws, and I'm not seeing enough to where I could say, hey, MSU's got him at home. Maybe they got a shot. This I do admit this rivalry is dirty and nasty, and it's physical and tough. You're hurting after this game, but I don't see that kind of identity from Smith's MSU teams. It's not the
I mean,
D'Antonio era anymore.
You talk about Aiden Childs, and just looking at his gosh, what the heck happened?
Oh, his stats. You're trying to pull them up?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have a stat. Sorry, it kind of froze. My computer froze for a bit.
You're good.
If you look at his just overall stats from this season, last season he was 192 for 323. Right now he's currently 114 for 125. He has 65.1 completion percentage. He finished last season with 59.4 completion percentage.
That's good improvement.
He had 11 interceptions last season. We're like
Yep.
7 games in. He only has 3. So he currently has 1,262 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 75.4 QBR.
Like I said,
he's doing a lot better, but yes,
he's cleaned it up.
He's cleaned it up, but he still is a bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
And again, like when my cousin was at the UCLA game, which by the way, they didn't just lose that, they lost 38-13. He basically said that Nick Marsh seems disinterested now that Aiden Childs is throwing him the ball. Like, it's just
doesn't believe in his QB.
Wouldn't that be something if they just completely imploded by the end of the season and Nick Marsh transfers to who?
I already see it on the socials. That's what Michigan fans are hoping for. I've seen it. Hopefully Marsh can come here because they are going hard in the paint after wide receivers.
Yeah.
And so I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I'd be pissed, but I wouldn't be surprised if he makes his way down to Ann Arbor.
But here's the thing about that, man. I'm not really gonna buy into those rumors because it's just like, so last season it was playoff time, and you had some Michigan talking heads pretty much saying that, we're talking to a wide receiver who's currently in the playoffs,
Right.
and literally nothing. And apparently he wanted to go, and it was pretty much already a done deal, and nothing came of that. So how can I trust now that Nick Marsh is gonna go to Michigan?
Well, could they have been talking about Donovan McCulley though? Because they were in the playoffs, and now he's on the Wolverines from the Hoosiers. So that maybe it did come to fruition.
They made it sound like it was this big star or whatever. People are saying, "Oh, Carnell." I'm like, dude, Carnell Tate is not coming. There's no way.
What a joke, man! What a joke. Yeah, I remember hearing those rumors too. But in all honesty, man, like I love rooting for Michigan State in this contest, and it's backfired at times. 10 years ago was, whoa, we had trouble with the snap, and I loved it. But it ended up costing Ohio State a playoff berth. But that's not really true because we cost ourselves a playoff berth by just totally blowing our wad versus the Spartans in Ohio Stadium. But
here's the thing, man. You're right, because if Michigan beats Michigan State that year and Ohio State ends up beating Michigan at the end of the year, Ohio State is not only in the Big Ten championship, they are in the playoffs.
There's
no way they lose that to Iowa.
Yeah. We missed a playoff spot. Yeah, there's no way we lose that undefeated Iowa team. We were beating them worse than MSU did, and we certainly wouldn't have gotten blanked by Bama. I'm not sure we would have won, but anyway, that's water under the bridge a decade ago. But
yeah,
I bring that up just to say, like, I don't see any scenario where the Spartans win this contest. Like, I can't talk myself into it. I try to every year to see, okay, maybe if Childs plays his best. But it's that defense, bro. The MSU defense is so sorry. Like, even the Wolverines, who are not good on offense, clearly not good on offense, are going to eat versus the MSU Spartans this weekend in Lansing. It's going to be bad, man. Like, I see this, as I said, I brought up, man, it's either close or a blowout, and I see this absolutely being a blowout in Michigan's favor. And I don't like saying that going in because I want to see Michigan State win, but I can't do it. I got to talk what I believe. So
Yeah. So looking at the state of MSU's program, I
mhm.
truly believe there's only one man to blame for it. And I know that he was probably one of the best coaches in a while for Michigan State, but
Yeah,
dude, you kind of have to, scoff at Mark D'Antonio because he should have left the program a lot earlier than he did. He gave up the
yeah,
recruiting trail. He put them in just this big deficit of talent compared to,
yeah,
other schools. And it's still showing,
yeah,
you had Mel Tucker for a bit, and then it got worse after that. And now you have Jonathan Smith, and
yeah.
it's just like it seems like they're in a Wisconsin predicament that it doesn't matter who's taking over the program, it just keeps getting worse and worse and
They've
worse.
they've sunken back to what they were in the early to mid 2000s, pre D'Antonio, and it sucks to see, man, but it's the reality. D'Antonio built his program on spite in East Lansing, and he left in a very spiteful way. He left, I think it was in April or May. It was, to get that bonus. He made sure that bonus check hit, and then he stepped down. Way too late to do a coaching search, and so they had to settle for the crappy Mel Tucker. The first year worked out well, but it's been a downward trend since then, man. And I don't know
Here
who's going to be able to rescue that program, but I've lost all faith in that it'll be John L. Smith to do it. I agree. He probably will be fired by the end of the year.
You know, I've been looking back at, just the history.
Yeah.
You talk about the early 2000s. They had a chance to
They
keep
were,
Nick Saban and have him as the head
yeah,
coach, but you
yeah,
know what happened? They wouldn't give him the keys. They wouldn't give him the
yep,
resources to build a
yep,
perennial powerhouse, a
yep.
consistent national championship contender. And then you fast forward to after Mel Tucker was fired. Word was that Urban Meyer was pretty much standing at the doorstep saying, "Hey, if you give me the resources, the keys to be able to make this a consistent powerhouse to win national championships, I'll be the coach." And they basically pretty much flopped again on this. It just
Let,
they just keep shooting themselves in the foot, man. It just seems like maybe there's some fight within the administration or
let me pose this to you. Do you think it's Izzo and that they are so committed to MSU and Izzo being successful and elite that they don't have the resources to pour into both at the same time? Or is that an excuse because they're all a part of the Big Ten contract and it's shared revenue?
You know what? You have some schools you have basketball schools, you have
Yeah,
football schools, you have baseball schools,
yeah,
and it's just like that. You do bring up a good point because Michigan State basketball, they've been really consistent year in year
yep,
out, and it's because of Tom Izzo. So that's
yeah.
a really great point you bring up. There is a possibility that they're saving all that revenue to pour into the basketball program so they can keep that going. But at the same time, man, Tom Izzo, not trying to talk about basketball that much,
Yeah,
but Tom
right.
Izzo is probably going to retire soon. And
Very
so
soon.
once he retires, maybe we'll see a little shift. That's actually what is happening.
I'm wondering, especially right around that Saban era that you brought up, that's when MSU won their title back in 2000, you know? And so maybe they saw that as the future, and that's why they didn't commit resources to Nick Saban, even after beating Ohio State teams and Michigan a couple times. But it's an interesting theory you brought up as well. But yeah, unfortunately, I do think the Wolverines roll this
Wait,
weekend.
Peter, what are you talking about? Title in the early 2000s?
For basketball for Izzo.
Oh,
So
okay. All
since
right.
they
Sorry.
won a
I
title in
kind of missed
basketball,
that.
they
Yeah.
they poured those resources into basketball and denied Saban those resources because he
I
was
mean,
there. He left in '99
yeah.
or it might have been 2000 actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, so
I mean, like
you never
if you look at Michigan State, can you truly say that they're a football school, man?
you can't say they're committed. They don't fill the Spartan Stadium all the time. It took multiple years of D'Antonio building a winner to finally consistently have a packed Spartan Stadium. I was kind of embarrassed for them, to be honest. And it's
And
only a 75,000 seater, too. It's not like
he
the Horseshoe or Michigan Stadium.
he even had to go. Remember when there was like it rained and the student section is about to leave, but he promised he'd stay and stay in
Yeah.
the student section with them. That's pretty
Yep.
much where they were at one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. That's just how far they've fallen. But outside of those D'Antonio years, I I just don't see it. And also, like
Yeah.
NFL draft picks, man. I mean, I know you had Kenneth Walker,
Yeah.
but like outside of that, dude,
Who's
who has the really been?
who's been a difference maker since
I
then?
I
Nobody.
I think Charles Rogers has been their only top, what was he, a top 3 pick, top 5 pick they've
He was
had
top 5, yeah.
quite some
Top
time
5
in.
for the Lions. Yep.
And that was like back in what, 2003? I
Either
think,
'02
yeah,
or '03. Yeah, one of
02
those
or
years.
03. So it's been a while. They're just right now. Their program is, I wouldn't even call it mid-program. I just say
No.
it's just not going good until they figure it out. Maybe it is revenue sharing within other sports. Maybe they're pouring too much money into basketball, but you can obviously justify what they're doing
Sure.
due to the
Results?
success that Tom Izzo has year in year out with the basketball program. But at the same time, do you really want to get to the point of no return with this program where it doesn't matter what coach you bring in?
Yeah.
Just
The
nothing really going to come about it.
the other thing that makes me just think, and this is always kind of what I've thought, pre D'Antonio and now in the post D'Antonio era, MSU is a blue collar kind of college. Like, it attracts those blue collar people, and much more so than Michigan. And they might not have the NIL revenue. I know they don't have the NIL revenue that other Big Ten schools have. But at the same time, that is still an excuse because of the Big Ten shared revenue. And there is money to be made, and there's money to be won by making these runs. And so they're leaving money on the table by not being fully committed, if you ask me. But best of luck to the Spartans this weekend. They're gonna freaking need it, man. That defense. I don't
And it's
know,
a
man.
night game, dude. I mean, thank
Yeah.
God, they now serve alcohol within the stadium because their
Right.
Spartan fans are definitely gonna need it. My cousin actually, like, literally after they left after they left at halftime
Yeah.
during the UCLA game, is actually in the beginning of, like, middle of the third. He said, "Yeah, I just sold my Michigan State tickets." I'm just like, oh man.
Showing his level of belief or lack
Yep.
thereof in the program.
You can't
There you
blame him
go.
though, dude. You
No,
can't. Like,
no, not one bit. Well, transitioning a little bit, we want to talk some playoffs a little bit. And who are some serious contenders in your opinion? We're starting to see some separation, Rob. We really are. Like,
yeah.
contenders are emerging. The cream is rising to the top here, and we see actual contenders. And I must say, I mean, Ohio State's got to be one of them. And then we want to talk, who are these group of 5 teams, but that might be competing. But first, let's talk about the contenders. Who are the legit serious contenders, not just for the playoffs, but for the actual national championship, the biggest crown out there? I've got
Man.
3 in my mind.
Yeah, I'd say not. Look, I get it. We're Buckeyes, but dude, you
Sure.
can't deny just the talent and success of those Ohio State teams. So I'm gonna go Ohio State.
Okay.
I am
That's fair.
going to go. You know what? I'm gonna go until otherwise, man. I'm gonna go Georgia as well. I just
Okay. No, that's fair.
Alabama may be their kryptonite, but outside of that, I mean, dude, Gunnar Stockton just has come out of
He's-
nowhere. He's been balling.
Yes.
And the defense, they got some things to work on, but other than that, with Kirby Smart, dude, you can't go wrong. He's a top 3 head coach for a reason.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a hater, but yes, he is very good.
dude, I would have to say, dude, man, Indiana really looks like a contender.
Yeah.
I like when they went into Eugene and they won like that, didn't even like really flinch.
Yep.
It was just like, okay, this team's for real. Kirk Cignetti obviously wins everywhere he goes. And the fact that this team is better than last year and they were able, you had players from last year's team who just came together after that Notre Dame win. I mean, that Notre Dame lost and they were pissed. And
Yeah.
obviously they're taking out they're exercising their demons, they're taking out their frustrations this season, and they're just literally running through pretty much everybody. I don't see them losing another game, and we'll all the way up to
Yeah.
the Big Ten championship.
They don't play a ranked team the rest of this regular season. They don't. And
Yeah.
not anybody that's even going to be considered to be ranked. So they've got a pretty nice path.
I want to see more from this team, but a team that could sneak up there is Texas A&M.
I knew that's what we were going to talk about. Yep.
Texas A&M, dude. I really love how Marcel Reed is playing. I mean, he seems like to be the heart and soul of that offense. I can see him making his way to New York for the Heisman ceremony. He's gonna sneak in there. And also, Mike Elko is a really good coach. I mean, he had them in position year one to make the SEC championship game. Things happen. They lost to Texas, and but they just seem like they're really bringing it all together. And I think this is the highest that Texas A&M has been ranked for quite some time, man. I mean, they're on a different level.
Since the Johnny Manziel days, probably.
Yeah, definitely since the Johnny Manziel days.
Yeah.
And another team, dude. I mean, I'm pretty much looking at top 5, like top 10.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna, you know what, dude? I'm really impressed with how Alabama and Kalen DeBoer have really, again, like, brought it together, especially after last season. Seems like, he has the team back on track. He's righting his wrongs from last season. Beat Vanderbilt soundly. They beat Tennessee pretty soundly, and completely wrong about Ty Simpson. Dude is balling out. He's another name to watch out for the Heisman ceremony. So I'm gonna go with Alabama as well. And I know that that Oregon lost to Indiana.
Okay.
I can see them being a contender too.
You still think they are? Okay. I've lost some faith in the Ducks.
You did?
I truly have. I think their defense, I thought it would be a little bit better than it's proven to be. Now, they haven't been bad, but I thought Mateo Uyunglele was going to be a difference maker and leading the conference by a mile in sacks and tackles for losses. He hasn't played poorly, but he hasn't played out of his mind like I thought, taking the next step. I'm gonna exclude the Ducks on my list. I don't have them as a serious national threat. Now that might be premature, and that might be judging it on one game, but it's a home game, and the Hoosiers were more physical at the point of attack, both offensively and defensively. And I just don't think this year's team is as good as last year's Oregon Ducks team, in my view. It is a limited view, but that's kind of my prognosis of the Ducks so far through the half of the season that we've seen.
Yeah, going back, let me go back to Texas A&M for a bit. This is who they have left. That actually.
Thank you for doing that. I was going to ask you to.
LSU, at Missouri.
Tough place to win.
They're at home against South Carolina, which, I mean, South Carolina is proven to be a complete dumpster fire. They're actually a good team that I had, possibly make some noise. They're proving otherwise. And then they go to Texas. So there's a really great chance that they win out, dude. Maybe they lose on the road to Texas, but man, like Arch Manning has been just absolutely terrible. And you know what, dude? Texas A&M is ranked higher in terms of third down defense percentage, and their defense has been really good in third down. And Arch Manning has just been absolutely horrendous. So if they're in need of like a 3rd and 7, they need that short pass or whatever. You can't rely on Arch Manning.
Yeah,
he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So there's a really great chance that Texas A&M wins out and makes it to the SEC championship game.
He makes like 1 or 2 good throws a game that are like, oh, okay, I saw maybe what could have fooled these recruiters and these rankings, but then he throws his other passes and he kind of brings you back down to earth. But you got to imagine that the Longhorns are going to be rowdy for that one, trying to knock off a most likely undefeated team at that time in their arch rival in Texas
dude,
A&M. So it's going to be rowdy in that crowd.
yeah. Manning has a 60.3 completion percentage, 5
That doesn't cut it.
interceptions. He has 1,449 yards, 12 touchdowns. His QBR is 58.6. So
How many picks? 5, you said?
he has 5 interceptions. But dude,
Okay. That's
honestly,
not too
man,
bad, but
the way that LSU has been playing, Missouri, they could be. You know what? I think Missouri is the most capable of beating this Texas A&M team. It's at Missouri.
no question.
I forgot their quarter. Is it? What's the quarterback's name?
Bo
It's the dude.
Prabula.
Yeah, Bo Prabula transferred from Penn State. I guarantee you, Penn State fans wish he was still on the team.
Well,
But
especially because
as you can
Althor
see,
went down.
as you can see, he's too good to be sitting on the bench. So that's why he's
Yeah.
at Missouri and he's having a good season. But that's the team that I see.
What about Mizzou as a
as
playoff
possible.
contender? They're a playoff contender, but not a national title contender in your opinion?
You know, here's who I could see making the playoffs, man. I can give you my 12 right now.
Oh wow. Okay. Let's hear it.
Ohio State, Indiana. I could see Texas A&M.
Definitely.
Oh, man. And then it gets harder from there, dude. I could see BYU getting in there. Notre Dame
They're still undefeated.
Notre Dame looks like they're going to win out.
I'd agree.
I don't know, man. I don't see Missouri, dude. I haven't. No, I'm not going to say Missouri.
Too tough of a road left ahead.
I'm not going to say Miami because you know what, dude? They are going to lose to Georgia Tech. You know what that reminds me, dude? Georgia Tech will make the playoffs.
Undefeated.
Will win the ACC and they will make the playoffs. I'm calling it right now.
Well, there's 6 undefeated teams left, man. Of course, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, the top 3 teams in the nation. Then you got the Yellow Jackets, like you just mentioned.
BYU.
Out of the ACC, I mean, they're definitely the favorites now with Clemson falling apart, and maybe Louisville is a threat there too. We'll see how they finish the season. Then, of course, BYU is undefeated, and then Navy. We know they most likely won't finish undefeated, but we had the Army story last year where had they beat Notre Dame, they would have made the playoffs as an undefeated team, but obviously we saw how that ended pretty poorly for the midshipmen. But there's 6 teams left that are undefeated, and probably 5 of them are going to make the playoffs for sure.
I think it's really bogus that not Miami, that Notre Dame could lose like 2 early games to possibly 2 of the teams that matter the most. I mean, you're talking about Texas A&M, who's currently undefeated, ranked 3rd, and then you're talking about Miami, who is still in the playoff picture, and they are a top 10 team. But yet, just because Notre Dame beats USC at home and they literally have no one left on their schedule who can beat them. So they're just going to waltz right into the playoffs. I call nonsense. Like,
interesting.
That's insane. That's what I'm saying.
I disagree. I think if they're 10-2, and losses to 2 top 10 teams, I think they're absolutely in the playoffs.
But
no question.
You have to beat. To me, you need to beat someone meaningful.
Well, they added a ranked win this last weekend.
You lost the two most important teams on your schedule, who are actually worth a dang, and you're telling me that they get to get in the playoffs because they have wins against cupcakes the rest of the way.
Well, I mean, they added a ranked win. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? So it's not like they just haven't beaten anybody yet. But USC, that's where I'm at. USC, they beat USC at home. I wouldn't call them a playoff team or contender, the Trojans, but it's a nice win at home for sure. So
I mean, you know what? They lost to Miami by 3. They lost to Texas A&M by 1. But dude,
it's not like they got blown out.
This is the rest of their schedule. They're at Boston College. They host Navy. They're at Pittsburgh. They host Syracuse, and then they're at Stanford. Come on.
Well, like I said, Navy's undefeated. That'll be a quality win too. it won't be a quality win in the eyes of college football fans, but it's a quality win in my eyes. But no, I think they do make the playoffs. I think at 10-2, there's no question they make the playoffs, in my opinion. What about Vandy? What about Vandy? I
Oh
think
man,
I don't think they're a national title contender, but I absolutely think they make the playoffs.
they
I
could,
think they
man.
can finish strong.
They could. So they host Missouri this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
They go
big
to
one.
Texas. They go to Texas November 1st. They host Auburn. They host Kentucky, and then they're on the road against Tennessee. Now, in order for them to make the playoffs, they need to win out, man. They don't win out, they're not in. Just in my opinion.
You think a 10-2 SEC team gets left out?
There's a possibility you can have a lot of 10-2 SEC teams, dude.
I can't see a 10-2 SEC or Big Ten team ever getting left out.
But like Peter, what I'm saying is, I mean, I'd have to look at the schedules more, but there's a big possibility that Alabama, you're looking at Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia, you have Ole Miss, Vanderbilt. Those are the teams that are competing for the playoff spot. Either, I mean, only one's undefeated, and the
Mm-hmm.
rest have one loss. So
Yeah.
that's a really tight race right there.
It is a tight race now. They're going to pick up losses, and we'll see who rises to the crop. I think Vandy is one that rises to the occasion, in my opinion. I think Vandy gets in. In terms of my group of 5 pick, I'm going with BYU. I think their schedule
Yeah.
is easy enough that they slide into that 12 spot and take that group of 5 position. But
I'm
in
gonna
terms
say
of national,
Texas Tech as well. Texas Tech.
definitely playoff team because of the conference they play in and who they have remaining. Yeah, I could see them getting in. In terms of who I think are national title contenders, I really only see 3 at the moment, in my opinion. Like I said, I excluded Oregon. I don't think they're a playoff threat. They will make the playoffs. I'm certain of it, but I don't think they're going to make any kind of run. I have Ohio State. They have the best defense. There's no question about it. Offense is humming. Got to see improvement from the run game, but my goodness, man, I've never seen a quarterback like this at Ohio State, and we've been blessed with many, many talented ones. The Hoosiers, I think I'll say this, man. Buckeye Nation's not gonna like this one, but if Ohio State and Indiana played today, I would favor Indiana ever so slightly. If the Big Ten championship was this weekend, I think they have a better run game than us, and I think their D line is just disgusting, and ours is too.
Dude,
But I would favor the Hoosiers right now.
wait. The D line in terms of rankings is pretty much the same. They're giving up 83 yards a game. We're giving up 84. It's pretty much neck and neck. You can't really say that there's something that sticks out, dude. If anything, like, we have a great linebacking core. We have a great secondary. We're
Mhm.
top 10 defensive line. Do I think we have the better athletes? And yeah,
I do think we have the better athletes, and we probably have the better staff. But my reasoning is more so that I think the Hoosiers making their first ever Big Ten title game would have more fans there than us, even though Ohio State travels really well. I think that would pack it and make it a home game for them. That wouldn't be like overwhelming, but I think they'd have more fans, and I think that would spur them on. I think that would spur them on. Now, if we improve with our run game offensively, then my opinion will shift. But until I see that improvement, I would pick the Hoosiers right now.
They do have a really great run game, man. You know what, dude?
They do.
I'm not gonna falter on Ohio State until it happens, dude.
Yeah.
I think they really get it. They really get it done this season.
I'm impressed with what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
And then my third one, I've just got Texas A&M, man. I'm really impressed with Marcel Reed. I think they emerge as the SEC champions. I think it'll probably be Texas A&M versus Georgia, but I could also see Alabama winning the tiebreaker and sneaking in because they are playing an elite level. Like you said, Ty Simpson is a totally different quarterback than what I've seen, but Marshall Reed should be a Heisman finalist in New York at the end of the season, and I think he's probably the favorite in my opinion. Mendoza is definitely in that conversation as well, but those are my three legit serious national title threats. You make a good case for Georgia, and I can't really refute that. I probably should include them in all honesty. They are a very serious threat. Gunnar Stockton has proven me wrong quite a bit this season. He's playing a lot better than I thought he was capable of, especially with the receiving core not being that special, in my opinion. So yeah, you know what? I will include Georgia. I'll include DeFore. I think Gunnar Stockton's play has elevated them back into that national title contending team. So
for LSU, I think they're gonna take. I'm pretty sure they're gonna take their third loss this weekend.
I agree.
Let me see who they play. Yeah, they play Texas A&M this
Yep.
weekend.
Yep.
They're about to take the third L mark. Like
Aggies, gig them. They're gonna take it to them, especially with Whit Weeks out. Do we know if that's a serious injury or just a short term one for Whit Weeks?
I don't know,
But either way, he's missing this week. So
yeah, he is missing this week. But I'm starting to think I was wrong about LSU, dude. I thought Brian
oh
Kelly
yeah,
again, seeing the job he did with Notre Dame in terms of their academic standards, getting in the way of being able to recruit those top 5 teams. And he got them to the playoffs a couple times, got them national championship game. And I was like, okay, he's finally going to go to a team where they have a lot of resources. They don't have the academic standards of Notre Dame.
sure.
Still a good school, but not the academic standards of Notre Dame. Notre Dame has a 10 to 50% acceptance rate for a reason, really hard to get into. And now it's just like maybe just can't win the big games.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, man. I'm not a believer in Brian Kelly. I'm not. But this college football season, there have been so many shocks and surprises, unexpected upsets. That's just what college football is. So it shouldn't surprise us. But I mean, daggone, man, these teams are dropping like flies from the ranks of the undefeateds, and there's a big shock every weekend. Maybe Texas A&M gets a shock.
Who hasn't? What hasn't surprised me? You already know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say, man? I'm going to say that what has surprised me is that the Miami Hurricanes folded like a bunch of cheap lawn chairs.
Come on, bro.
When it was neck and neck in the fourth quarter, and that's what happens to this Miami Hurricanes team and Mario Cristobal. They just completely blow it. NIL doesn't matter for them. They don't have a true winning culture. And you know what? Ohio State has still broken them. They haven't done a dang thing since 2002, where they lost that national championship game to the Ohio State Buckeyes, and they continue to do nothing relevant. I don't care that they have all this NIL. I don't care that they have these top 10, top 5 recruiting classes. I don't care that, Michael Irvin's on the sidelines and, looking like he's hopped up on the queue or whatever.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't care about that stuff. It's a clown show.
It is.
I can't take that seriously. You just have a bunch of players who have not come together to win at whatever cost. You have players who came together with all their money that they're making at the U.
Speaking of that, man, we've seen the culture play out time and time and year after year for the Hurricanes. Texas A&M was in that same boat before Mike Elko, a money program with Jimbo Fisher and all these other coaches that have failed to unite that team. Has Mike Elko found the secret sauce and kind of obviously Texas A&M still pays crap ton of money.
Yeah,
has he one that's turned the culture around to combine both the NIL power but the good culture, like a solid foundation?
I mean, if you look what he did at Duke, it seemed like he was a player's coach.
Yep.
Like they're pretty sad to see him go. And I guarantee you that Michigan State is really, kicking themselves for not getting Mike Elko, and they
Seriously.
understand Jonathan Smith. So I think he's completely turn the culture around last year. I get that they blew a game or two to make the SEC championship game, possibly make the playoffs, but it was going in the right direction. I mean, you got to look, man. Like Texas A&M really tried to build their program off of oil money.
Yep.
And Jimbo Fisher he lost the locker room. He had a bunch of players who were sitting back, counting their money, didn't care about the state of the program. And then you had some players you just got fed up. They're like, you know what, man, I'm tired of this losing. I can go to this school, pretty much get the same NIL package, but
Yeah.
I'll be an actual contender. And so kudos to those people. But
Yeah.
other than that, man, like it's just
Same with
it's a complete 180. Mike
it
Elko's
is. He's the reason I'm a believer in this A&M squad. Marcel Reed plays a factor in that too. But Elko, I think, has found the secret to combining that huge backing from boosters, but establishing this is what we are at Texas A&M. I also think this has played a massive factor. TCU sliding back to irrelevance and Texas going to the SEC. They're the big boy in the state now. They are.
Yeah. So
Along with Tech.
he was actually a part of that historic I think he was a part of that. He was a part of the 2023 class, but no, the historic class, I think it was 2022. You know, he's a 4-star QB out of Nashville, Tennessee. He was the 20th ranked QB, 8th best player in the state of Tennessee. So it's kind of like that just shows you how possibly Elko can, rally players, develop them. He looks like he brought in a good staff as well. And just, again, it seems like he's a player's coach. So
yeah. He's turning around, man. He's built them into something. I don't know if they can be consistent yet. We're going to have to wait for future to play out, of course, and hopefully he doesn't leave for Texas A&M's sake with all these job openings. But if he stays there and builds a consistent winner, man, he can really dominate that state. Tech might have something to say about it. They're a dominant emerging program with massive NIL boosters as well. But with Texas out the way and TCU completely irrelevant, they got a chance to be the big dog in the state now for the first time ever.
Hey, but I would say that there's only so much oil money to go around, but there's a lot of it seems like it will be a never-ending NIL issue. I mean, not an issue.
A very well-funded program, right? For sure.
Texas Tech, Texas Longhorns, and Texas A&M. Like they're gonna have the highest NIL packages because they have more money. And I'm not just saying that just to be funny. It's true though. I mean,
it's the reality of college.
We all know how they have so much money. So
it's absolutely reality. It's an arms race. It really is. And thankfully, Ohio State is one of the leaders in that field and in that category. And thank God we have culture that Day has built, because if you only have one of those two, if you have the NIL but the horrible coaching, Miami, you're not going to be consistent. If you have the coaching but no backing, you can't build a serious winner. You can't bring the recruiting class or the transfer portal, highest bidder. You just can't compete in today's college football. It sucks, but it's reality.
Yeah. So Mark asked, with the job openings coming soon, why doesn't Jeff Brom get mentioned?
I don't know. I think he should.
So yeah, I think he should. He is undefeated against top 5 teams, which doing that with Purdue, insane. And now he's doing it with Louisville. So I feel like he's one of those coaches who just deserves the big time job, but maybe he's content with going to these smaller programs, getting upsets, building somewhat of a winner. But dude, it's kind of like, let me bring up Detroit sports real quick. All right.
Okay, sure.
It's kind of like, you had several players from the Lions who, great players, but if they stayed in Detroit, they weren't going to get a ring. And then they left Detroit, they got a ring. And same as the Tigers. You had Max Scherzer, Porcello, and Verlander. They finally left the Tigers and they got a ring. So I feel like Jeff Brom is like one of those people who deserves a shot at a big time program, I guarantee you that if he's beating top 5 schools, top 5 teams with the likes of Purdue and
Yeah.
Louisville,
Yeah.
imagine what he could do with a school that can give him never-ending resources.
I wonder. I paused a little bit, and this is just to be counter argument because I really truly do believe in Jeff Brom is an elite head coach, not just a good one. But what if he recognizes his own kind of talent cap? You brought up a lot of with Luke Fickle, like there's certain Brady Hoke, there's certain coaches that can take San Diego States and Ball States and Fickle with Cincinnati and make them elite in their conference, but can't do it at the bigger jobs. Do you think Brom maybe recognizes this is my level? Because he's older, he hasn't risen through the ranks like some of these younger hotshot head coaches have. Do you think he realizes this is where I'm going to stay because this is where I can win at? Or do you think that's nonsense because football coaches usually just fully believe in themselves?
I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say we haven't seen him try.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
But again, he could be at one of those coaches who just likes going to the small time programs and every once in a while upsetting the big time programs.
Like building. There's a lot less pressure. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I mean, daggone, man, they loved him in West Lafayette, and I'm sure they've fallen deeply in love with him in Louisville because they don't get wins like that over these major programs very often at schools like this, and he's brought it to both universities, so it's impressive. But anything else before we sign off on tonight's live, bro?
No, man, that's it. That's just
fair enough.
So just a reminder that the U is not back.
It ain't back.
It's never going to be back. It was broken by Ohio State back in 2002. They still crying about that pass interference call, but we all saw it for what it was. They even did a snub on their little documentary. It's all about the U, the 30 for 30, where it when it showed the number of national champions that they had. And then they threw the flag, and then they put one back on.
So cinematic, man.
That is just so petty, man. And
it's petty as hell.
They're still crying about it, but they haven't done anything since, and they will not continue to because they're doing it the wrong way. Now, let's say that let's say they don't make the playoffs. I guarantee you the donors will start kind of backing out and being like, you know what? Chris Paul's not the guy. If you don't find someone else who can lead this program in the right direction, that's going to make our money worthwhile, like we're pulling out.
Yeah. That's the reality of programs like that. Yep. They can pull that support. And when I must say, though, boosters have gained a lot of control in today's college football world, and they can make those calls like that, even above the athletic director, in my opinion.
Dude, it's like politics, man.
Yeah. Follow the money.
It's definitely politics, dude. Follow the money. But you know what? We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Thank you for tuning in. We go, if you're new, click like and subscribe. Please support a small channel. We go live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We also put out content weekly on just the hottest topics in college football and the hottest takes on Ohio State and just any other school in general. But other than that, thank you for tuning in. God bless. Go Bucks. And, we'll see you in the next one.
All right, then. I'll wait.
IO.